Why do we gather? What's the point of all this? Is it simply to crown the fittest? To watch the world's best battle for their place in history? Or is it to witness the extraordinary with all of its highs and lows? Maybe. This is CrossFit.
Straight 4 miler.
Yeah, I really like the idea that there's loops here. This really introduces early on in our weekend the fact that gamesmanship is important. They're even going to get an opportunity coming off that 3K row to look back at the competition and see where they stack up.
Adrian, what is your tempo recipe for success here?
This is a long event, but they have to know their road pace sandwiched right there in the middle of these 2 long runs so that they can be disciplined, and they're going to be able to dictate the outcome in the workout more based on that run effort. And like I mentioned, discipline is important. They've got to have it very early. There's a lot of emotion tied up in the start of the CrossFit Games, and they want to save the desire for that final 2-mile stretch where they bleed out all they got.
Well, with this start, let's talk about start order in the start list. There are going to be 3 waves of 10 for the women and 3 waves of 10 for the men, and they're going to be seated by their open finish. Now, one of those athletes who you think is going to do well, Haley Adams, is actually in the back row.
Yeah, that's right. It's interesting. We got a lot of chatter about, hey, does the open matter? The open matters even here at the CrossFit Games. And Haley's going to be towards the back of the pack, but we like her. We watched her grow up within the sport of CrossFit. She's a 2019 Rookie of the Year, and she's got a pedigree and a history, Chase, that shows us she's a high-level performer at a test just like this.
And she performs well in event 1, but someone who performs well all the time, Tia-Clair Toomey.
We know her. We love her. She's going for her 8th title, and of course, she's one of the most dominant athletes in the field.
Let's go down to Mike Arsenault.
That is event number 1 run.
Well, Chase, 16 times in CrossFit Games history, the men and women have competed in the same event with the same specifications, often at the same time. And in 6 of those instances, a woman has been the overall winner. Why do I bring that up? Well, 7-time champion Tia Toomey is arguably the best endurance athlete we have in this field, but she finds herself in an unfamiliar position. The men are first, then the women, and they're ranked by their open placement. And Tia had an uncharacteristically weak open performance, so she's currently ranked 56th out of the 60 athletes. So she has quite a bit of ground to make up if she's going to be female number 7 to win at dual events.
Thank you, Mike. Let's talk about some athletes that are going to be looking over their shoulder for Tia-Clair Toomey. That one of those is Jeff Adler.
Yes, Jeffrey Adler. He is going for his 2nd title. No man has lost the title and then got it back, so we're excited to see that.
Another one of those athletes who does well in the endurance, but will the jitters be there for him? And that's Ricky Garrard.
That's a really great question, Chase, but here's what we know about Ricky. He had a sub 5-minute mile last year. He's going to come with ferocity, and we'll see how it plays out.
Go!
And the 2025 CrossFit Games are underway as we are getting set for run, row, run. And it looks more like sprint, row, sprint. Jeff Adler right off the back. Now, what's important there's a couple of tight turns right at the very beginning, 60 athletes right at the start. It's good for you to maybe like get out ahead just to get some clear air.
Yeah, there's no doubt about the fact that Jeff had thought about this opportunity early, Ricky coming in right on his tail. These athletes identify from not only their own training paces, but also the history within competing against each other, where they want to settle to start a race like this. But Chase, you nailed it. It's tight positions. You want to get yourself in a position for success early so that then you can just stick to what you plan to stick to throughout the race.
Jeff Adler. Did I just see Tia Toomey right at the front of the pack?
Know you did.
Yeah, of course you did. She's right there at the front with the guys. That's why we know her and we love her, right? She's right there. Who is she behind?
Jeff Adler and
Wow,
Ricky Garrard.
that's
It's almost
impressive.
like you guys set this up so well for athletes to look for. Well, Jeff
not
Adler
shocked.
and Ricky Garrard are definitely looking over their shoulder. Tia Claire Toomey, your 7-time CrossFit Games champion, right there with them. And it took all but 300 meters for her to get to the back of the pack to the front, amongst all the traffic.
Yeah, all the other women are just saying, well, see you on the other side, Tia.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a consideration from a competitive standpoint, right, Bethany? Like, there is a strategy in which, of course, you show up with the desire to maximize your points and the outcome, but you also have to run your own race.
That is the #1 rule in life, know thyself. So with this, it's easy to get caught up in the race, but you don't want to burn out in the first 4 miles.
And that's a very good point, because we have a long way to go. We're just 2 minutes into event number 1, and the speed at which these athletes came out, obviously they're not going to keep that pace right from the beginning. But Adrian, how do you keep calm with the chaos first event of the CrossFit Games, all the buildup, your entire year has led up to this single moment, and all of a sudden everybody just starts sprinting right from the start?
Well, I'll tell you right now, if you're a youngster in the field, more so meaning a lesser experienced athlete, you can easily get drawn out of a tempo or pace that you plan to establish, because these vets will pull you right out of that. So the reason part of this recipe for success is discipline early and desire late is because you really have to go into this test with that mindset in order to give yourself a chance to succeed late.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the veterans are like, normal stuff here.
Yeah.
Everyone's sprinting.
Go, Junior.
Yeah, you got it. Get out there. But I think a lot of the veterans are thinking, okay, I want to stay with the pack, but I don't want to get caught up in the race. And so got to find that middle ground of not getting too far behind, but staying right there with the pack.
I mean, you guys have been competing for a very long time. Event 1 traditionally has been a little bit longer. It could be a bike. We've seen runs, we've seen swims, we've seen the crit race and everything like that. But looking at this landscape here, we're running along the Hudson River. It's 50 to 60 degrees. Could you have picked a better location to have an event?
It's amazing. So beautiful. I was actually commenting on that before we started. And just running near the water right there with that brisk, cool air, you know you're going to get some good times.
Jeff Adler, Ricky Garrard, Roman Krennikov. 3 athletes that all have stood on the podium. Jeff has stood on top of the podium. Roman's finished 2nd. Ricky's finished 3rd. Leading the charge here. Tia Toomey has fallen off the pace a little bit from these top men. We got a pack of 4. As we're just 4 minutes in. Now, we mentioned earlier there's a 2-mile run loop. So they'll be doing this loop 3 times. In a longer run setting, what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer an out and back, a loop, just a quick 4-miler? What's the benefit or downside here of having these loops?
You know, to me, especially as we watch the leading pack, of course, I think it's a huge advantage to running loops. And I think it's because it gives you that opportunity to see where other competitors are, and also be able to throttle up or throttle down appropriately. We think about the CrossFit Games, and you're thinking about your durability through a series of tests, not just this one event. If this lead pack gets an opportunity to see, oh, the next group is 10 seconds back, 15 seconds back, they can throttle down and be able to gamify essentially the efforts that they're putting into this.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. You're going to see most of those athletes look down at their watch to see their paces. And on that 2-mile loop, they are going to check their paces to see where they're at. So without that loop, it's hard to know kind of where you're at and where everybody else is at. So it's definitely nice to have the loops going on.
Speaking of nice, we talked earlier about the weather this morning here in Albany, New York. 57 degrees, low wind. Humidity is high, but with the cool air, you're not really going to feel it as much. 3 days ago, it was over 90 degrees here. So these athletes got very lucky with the weather this morning.
They did, and even as on our way to the facility this morning, it was like we're going to see some really fast run times with these conditions. It's a perfect recipe for some PR running times.
Now, is that a perfect recipe for a trap?
It could be. It's definitely, Adrian pointed this out before we got on the air, but you're going to get a little sore by running a little faster than you normally do.
I tell you what, if this is a 2-mile loop, that's 6:05 for the turnaround point.
That is fast.
Now, what's...
Well, Chase, I got to call this out real quick. We looked, literally, we said 6:15 at the turnaround mark. Jeff Adler looks at his watch, immediately throttles back the pace. Ricky's like, whoa, what's going on? He slows down with him, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and this is part of the gamification of a run like this and the endurance side of things where you're like, okay, let's check, let's keep each other accountable. We know what's about to happen. This last 2 miles, I'm running away from you. But right now, we got to check ourselves and make sure that we're sticking to this plan.
Yeah, Bethany, what's
Got
that feel
the-
like? You hit the mile mark. I feel great. You see
Yeah.
the time, you're like, whoopsie.
Been there, done that. I think 2018 was like that as well. The 800-meter runs that we did, we were like, oh, no. But High School Musical's coming in. We're all in this together, so
Nice.
stay with your pack. If someone else starts slowing down that you know is fast, well, you should probably follow suit.
You see your top three. You've got Roman, Ricky, and Jeff. Is Roman getting a little 5K callback from 2023 in this moment?
You'd like to think so.
You would like
You'd like to think so. Chase is referring to a wonderful rivalry that we saw take place between Jeff and Roman back in 2023. Unfortunately, we watched Roman have to withdraw due to a foot injury and didn't really get to finish the CrossFit Games the way that we had hoped and aspired to watch that throwdown turn into. But him and Jeff were still going neck and neck at that point of the 5K run. So this is an opportunity here for Roman to step up and see what he's got.
Athletes are working their way back, about a mile out and a mile back again. We said the laps are 2 miles long. They'll do 2 of those as we start with this 4-mile run. As Jeff Adler's looking over his shoulder at Ricky Garrard.
Another interesting talking point for this specific event is that we've known this for a really long time. We've known what this would include, the distances. Of course, the athletes didn't know the details on the route itself. However, when you have that much time, Bethany, how many times have you done this event? Are you breaking it up a bunch of different times into interval formats? I mean, it's almost like to an athlete's detriment. They've known this too long.
Yeah, when you know the workout for a little too long, you start beating your head against the wall. But a lot of these athletes are going to test it out and then do intervals of this. Obviously, they're going to run outside too, just because the terrain, it can mess with you. We saw Adler kind of roll his ankle just a tiny bit a second ago. So it definitely makes a difference running track compared to on the cement terrain.
Although I have actually rolled my ankle on a track. I'm not boasting my athletic prowess right now with that statement, but I feel like I've had to come clean with that one. It was one of my more embarrassing moments as a, quote, athlete. And Adrian, you nailed it, that this is the earliest event announcement we've ever had at the CrossFit Games. This event was announced May 20th. They have had over 2 months to prepare for this. This was during the qualifying stages. So people knew what the event was before they even qualified for the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, it makes it unique, and it makes it a little bit more of a psychological hump for a lot of these athletes, especially not necessarily the ones that we're watching take the lead and roll from the front. These guys have been pumped about the announcement from May 20th. However, there's a pack towards the back that have been dreading this day and are now having to live this experience out, knowing that they're going to be in a deficit from the points perspective. So it's unique when you know a test this long, but we're watching it. These guys are nailing it to a T so far as they get ready to make their way back towards those rowers.
We have Jeff Adler, Ricky Garrard, starting to pull away a little bit with that chase pack headed up by Roman Krennikov. There's two other athletes with him. We're trying to figure out who these top 5 are going to be, but Jeff and Ricky, as Ricky takes a look back.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what their 2-mile pace is at, what they're going to do, too. Are they going to reel it in a little bit more, or are they going to speed up after these first 2 miles?
Right.
So just got word, it's Roman, Hatfield, and Bosshard. So your top 3 so far, as Jeff and Ricky are got about a 30-meter advantage on the chase pack, headed up by Roman Krennikov, but Austin Hatfield and Colin Bosshard are in that chase group. Austin Hatfield took 10th last year as a rookie at the CrossFit Games, but a lot of chatter out there is that this guy has potential for not just podium, but maybe a win here at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, what we've seen from him, and from a mentality perspective, it seems like he's got all the pieces there. And this is going to be a great weekend and opportunity for him to actually be able to put that on display. Having a strong start in a long endurance event like this, with the capacity that we've seen from him when he gets into what we would categorize as traditional CrossFit, this is going to be a great way for him to start the weekend.
We have Jeff Adler, Ricky Garrard at 11:37 on the first lap split, followed by Roman Krennikov, Colin Bosshard, and Austin Hatfield. Huge gap, about a 9-second gap between them. They have Jay Crouch and Tia Claire Toomey, so training partners, proven crew, fellow Australians.
And for them right now, there's comfort in this, knowing each other's running paces. They train together in the build-up to the CrossFit Games. This makes a very nice and familiar experience for these athletes to start the weekend. They can push one another. They can pace off one another. It's a great spot for them to settle into the second loop. And then, of course, understand that the rowers are looming.
So Callie and Souza, Jason Hopper, Harry Lightfoot, Sprague is in the mix there. Your second place female is Amy Kringle, followed by Lucy Campbell and Haley Adams.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. We have some fast times going on. I will like to see how they do on that last 2 miles after the 3K row.
That's right.
Tia Claire was at 12:06. Amy Kringle's about 17 seconds behind her, with Lucy Campbell and Haley Adams 7 seconds behind them. So same gap spread we've seen, at least for the men and the women's side, between the top leaders and the chase pack.
Yeah, and this is where 13 minutes into event 1, reality starts to set in. And I mean that from a perspective of, hey, it was all fine and well. Adrenaline dump was strong. We kicked off the CrossFit Games. We were all excited. And now we're left to the psychological and physiological tolerances that we've established all year through our training. And so now we're going to start to see who paced that first lap right, and if there's any significant change in the chunks of distance between the leading group and the following packs or not going into the rowers.
Yeah, you're going to find out a lot about yourself after that first. Did you pace it correctly?
For better
like you
or
were
worse,
saying?
that's
Yeah.
right.
And then, because of all the training that you've had leading up to it, if you did push too hard, can you just hold on?
And that's a tough spot to be in, Bethany. When you have that reality hit you emotionally, that I overshot the coverage here, right? Like I put myself in a tough situation, and I've still got another 45 minutes left of this test. How do you reconcile that type of feeling? How do you fight back from that?
You got to go back to all those really, really hard training days and weeks and months that you had. Because because you know a lot of these athletes have pushed to that point where they're just like, I'm done. I am done. And you kind of have to just rely on training at that point and kind of be nice to yourself. Can you say some kind things to yourself even when it sucks really, really bad? I think that your headspace is going to be the most important thing as you're fighting through some really hard times on the run.
Approach past the 15-minute mark as we are on our second 2-mile lap to kick off this 4-mile run. And they will make their way to those Echo rowers back at Jenny's Landing. Jeff Adler, your 2023 CrossFit Games champ. We have 3 CrossFit Games champions on the men's sides in this field. Your last 3 with Jeff Adler, James Sprague, and Justin Medeiros. Couple that with 3 other men that have stood on top of the podium, with another 3 or 4 that have podium potential. This is one of the most stacked fields we have ever had for the men in the history of the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, I have to say, for all the viewers out there tuning in, we are extremely fortunate and blessed to be here to cover this heat. I mean, this whole entire weekend is going to be amazing. However, we've never seen a field of men stacked quite like this. And it literally, we say this in many different instances, but it could be anyone's gold medal at the end of this 3-day competition.
Now, we've seen Jeff Adler leading right from the start with Ricky Garrard in his back pocket the whole way. I don't know if that's more of Jeff dictating the pace or Ricky just saying, I'm just going to stay with you, but you're going to do all the pace work.
Ricky is notorious for baiting a leader into the position where they feel like they have complete control. And then he just hits you with this final surge within the last 300 meters of an event, depending on how long it is. And he's got the capacity to do that. Not all athletes can play this game, but when you have that aerobic fitness in your back pocket, and then you know you've got the power to have that final stride and kick in any given time of a race, it's going to make Ricky an extremely high-level threat to Jeff throughout this entire thing.
That is 101 of being an athlete right there. It's impressive what he can do when it's go time, game time. So I'm excited to see the end of this, even though we're right at the beginning.
Still a long ways to go. And Chase, you brought up Justin Medeiros, and we know that in the years past, there's almost been a shift in mentality for him coming into this year, where he's openly and publicly stated, like, I'm kind of letting go of my expectations. I'm having fun competing. And the reason I bring him up is because running was always one of those things that when he has a good running year, his fitness shows here and even the arena at a different level. So I'm interested to see how this plays out for him in event 1.
And we saw what he did in the hills of Aromas, California. Now, they didn't have much water out in Aromas, but they do have some here out on the course. And more on that, let's go down to Mike Arsenault.
Yeah, these athletes need to fuel with a long event like event number 1, 6 miles of running, 3 kilometers of rowing that will be coming up very shortly. So we have a couple tables set up here with a selection of drinks. We have one athlete is going to take down some baby food as we move throughout this event. But Bethany, I'm curious, you're a great resource to have as an active professional CrossFit athlete. What would your strategy be? What would you be consuming during event 1 to keep yourself fueled so your performance level stays high throughout the duration of this event?
Yeah, I think you have to know yourself. Do you have a sensitive stomach? Do you have an easygoing stomach? And then that's going to decide what you use as far as carbs go. But for me, it's easy digesting carbs, quick, easy carbs that you can just use that you know work for you too. And so that's going to be different per athlete and what works.
Yeah, I like that. I love to use the same kind of strategy. I think it's really important for us to consider, a couple things like, is there electrolytes in those drinks that they're taking down? And then also, in the training building up, I mean, there's probably a lot of athletes that love endurance sports tuning in to watch these big, strong athletes. Our athletes carry a large amount of lean body mass, and that's also a different consideration when they're out there doing these long endurance events than even traditional smaller framed endurance athletes, right? So they've got to stay hydrated and they've got to make sure they're getting enough electrolytes to be able to perform at a high level all the way through.
Well, another thing is, like, I hope you've prepared for something like this. Today isn't the day to just start pounding goos or or something that you've never tried before.
Yeah, I was gonna talk on that, and it's so important. It's not about today, but what did you do yesterday? what'd you do the day before? And what have you been doing during training? Because it's not just one event they're doing. This is a marathon. They got 9 events that they're competing in.
Now we are approaching the 20-minute mark, closing out the second 2-mile loop. And this is what is looming at Jennings Landing. It is the Rogue Echo Rower. And is built for anyone looking for a reliable, smooth ride. Whether you're just getting started or chasing your next PR, it's a precision-calibrated flywheel, delivers consistent resistance, and the quick-release foot straps make it easy to get in and out. When you're done, it folds up and rolls away on oversized turf tires. So no matter where you're training, the official rower of CrossFit and the CrossFit Games, something to that point is that it is never been used at the CrossFit Games before. It's a very recent thing that has been created by Rogue. Have either one of you guys tried the Echo Rower itself?
I got to be honest, I've never used one. Not yet.
So definitely something is like, hey, listen, if you're not used to this piece of equipment, they say it's very close to what the Concept 2 rower has been. It's been at a traditional, a staple piece of equipment, not just here at the CrossFit Games, but in CrossFit affiliates all over the world. And, if you've never been on one of those, it may play a little bit into how that 3K goes under.
I think that's a part of the CrossFit Games and the beauty of it, right? You have to be an athlete, and if you've never used it before, you got to figure it out on the fly. Personally, I've never used it either, so I would be very intrigued by the rower and how it works.
Ricky Garrard and Jeff Adler still in the lead. The chase pack had Roman Krenikoff, Austin Hatfield, and Colin Bossard, but it looks like Roman has separated himself from that chase pack as Jeff Adler basically wearing Ricky Garrard for a backpack this entire 4-mile run.
And now the discussion is, hey man, what are you going to row? How hard are we really getting after it here? We know what Roman's going to row, and that's fast. Regardless of what everyone else is going to choose to do on that rower, Roman Krenikoff has been built for things like bike ergs and rowing.
Listen, you don't row a 2:48 1K and just accidentally.
Right. And even your slow is fast. So at that point, when you sit down for a 3K in the middle of 6 miles of running, you're going to pose a threat to a few men who are only 4 to 5 seconds ahead of you.
Now, the question we had earlier is that there's a 6 miles of running. It's the 3rd longest distance of running we've had on the individual side of the CrossFit Games. But we have this 3K row. When the race is this tight, Roman Krenikoff's already catching up to Jeff and Ricky. How much is this row going to matter when we're talking about maybe getting a win here at the CrossFit Games versus just having a successful run in the first event?
For me, I don't think it matters too much. You're not going to make up a ton of ground on the 3K row. We might see Roman get off first, but that 2-mile run is where the money is made. So that's going to be the most important part. You want to stay up. The good thing is they can all see each other's monitors, and they can kind of look over if they want to take a little sneak peek and see where everyone's at. But it's not going to matter as much as that 2-mile run at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think when we watch these athletes settle into the row, and any CrossFitter watching this is going to understand this. The juice is not always worth the squeeze, folks, when you sit down on the rower and you're going 5 seconds faster of a 500-meter split than someone sitting beside you because of all the more time that it provides as an advantage when you exit the rower. One pause, one miscue on your run, just slightly too fast on the rower, and you're going to drop off that pace, and we're just getting way more time on these running efforts.
Your top 3 athletes coming into the rowing transition area. And it's first come, first serve. However, the men, Ricky just had a misstep there. My goodness. Now, another thing is that the rowers were preset for all athletes, meaning the damper was at a 5 and the foot pad holes were at a 3. Ricky didn't change anything on the foot pad. Obviously, for a 3K row, Bethany, how much does it matter to have that set up for what you're comfortable with?
I think for me, it's not going to matter as much as what you think. You can kind of adjust as you go. We saw Ricky, as he started rowing, kind of adjust that damper up a little bit. But I think the most important thing is it's a veteran move. Just get on the rower and start rowing.
Speaking of veterans, Tia-Claire Toomey is the first woman in. She's 4th overall. Kalian Souza looks like he's 4th for the men, followed by Colin Bossard. So Tia-Claire Toomey on the rower here right at the 25-minute mark. James Sprague. Looks like Chris Ibarra and Jason Hopper are for the men. So Tia, we've said this before, alone on the course right now for the women. Now it's nice here. I was saying, as Amy Kringle comes in, what's nice here for the women is they get to face the Hudson River, where the men get to face the crowd. But wearing the rocking sunglasses. How about Zenny? A lot of athletes wearing these sunglasses out on the course. These are from our new eyewear partner, Zenny Optical. Makes performance eyewear that is lightweight, impact resistant, and built to stay put. Even allows through sprints, rows, and all the sweat that comes with it. Zenny offers a ton of customizable options. So whether you're on the competition floor or out for a weekend run, they've got something that fits your style and your face. Use the code CrossFit for 10% off. Jay Crouch, Austin Hatfield. And the order of the men that came in will be the order on the row. Jeff Adler is just behind Ricky. Now, Ricky had a little bit of a stumble. I don't know if he had twisted his ankle or not, but coming into the row, but see the women just on the right side of your screen. It is Tia-Claire Toomey, Amy Kringle, Lucy Campbell, followed by Haley Adams. As it looks like Maddie Sturt, as Ariel Lowen just getting the rower. Adrian, we spoke earlier about the depth of this field on the men's side and the number of champions we have. 3 champions over the last 3 years. One of those men is James Sprague, who is your 2024 reigning and defending CrossFit Games champion.
That's right, James coming in, fearless mentality, really knows that he's got something to prove. Coming into this year, even as the defending champ, some people have counted him out, almost gave him a little bit of, yeah, he won it, but it was 2024. And so this year, James comes in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, even after racking up wins at Wadapalooza and some very big events with some stout competition. I know that he's focused and comes in with that grit mentality that he won the CrossFit Games with last year.
Another athlete thought about pressure or a lot to prove. Jason Hopper burst on the scene back in 2022, won the MAC back in the day, and there's been a lot of pressure, I think, put on him and maybe put on himself about being maybe a podium contender.
Yes, we've heard over and over again, he wants it. He wants to win. He wants to be on top. Do you see that veteran move right now that he's doing? Looking over at the rower and seeing what the other paces are around him. It's not a bad idea, but he wants to win this weekend.
Harry Lightfoot just to his left, working on his 3K row. These men are approaching around the 1,300 meter mark. Haley Adams, you see just eyeballs everywhere. Everyone's seeing, hey, what's the row pace? Where are we all just going to sit at this row pace?
Yeah, and Haley's one of those women who is going to be able to row strong enough to put herself in a threatening position. I think this is the key with the row for all these athletes that are coming in around that top 7 mark with on the side of each sex, is that they want to exit the rower fast enough just to propose a threat on those athletes ahead of them for the final two miles.
Again, we are using the Rogue Echo rower, which is the official rower of CrossFit and the CrossFit Games. As Lucy Campbell back at the CrossFit Games for the first time since 2022. And the reason is that wrist injury that took her 2 years to recover from. And now she's back here at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, a lot of doctors told her that she wasn't going to make it back, that she couldn't do this anymore. And so I love those stories. I love it when they're like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And do you see what she's doing right now? That's kind of a veteran move. She's got the towel on because this rower, it gets sweaty. You can actually get blisters on the rower with the handles when you start sweating a lot, and you can tell they're sweating a lot. It's humid out there, but we're excited to see what she does this weekend. She is fit and she is ready to go.
I mean, talk about resilience. 2 years, and again, just to recover. She wasn't sure she'd ever be able to hold a barbell in her hand, let alone stand on the competition for the CrossFit Games. And Lucy's a wild card this weekend that has podium potential.
No doubt, Chase, she doesn't have a lot of glaring holes, and that's what you're looking for in an athlete that has this kind of grit, tenacity, and consistency, is that can she bring it together on a long event where she can really have an opportunity to create a buffer between her and others in regards to points and establish through the weekend. This is going to be big for Lucy.
T-Claire Toomey leading the charge for the women, 7-time CrossFit Games champion, looking for 8. Amy Kringle just to her right is closing the gap on Tia. Less than 100 meters between the two of them. Lucy Campbell sitting in third. Lucy Campbell came back to competition in the off-season, won her first event. Came out in Wadapalooza this year earlier, won that as well. Roman Krennikov, who is probably the best rower in the field and has less than 1,000 meters left. So Roman, who's sitting in third after the 4-mile run, closed the gap significantly on Jeff Adler and Ricky Garrard within about 3 seconds.
Yep. And that's what we expected from Roman. And so now the storyline builds as Roman coasts into his final 1K here on the row. Is this going to lend himself any type of advantage over these two great runners that are ahead of him? Not that Roman can't run, but is it going to be enough to put Ricky and Jeff back behind him?
Just got where that Amy Kringle, I mean, you can just see her in the back in the pink cranking on that row. She was significantly behind Tia on the run. And she is closed within 15 meters on the 3K. Now, the question is, Bethany, we said, is the row going to matter? It can matter. You don't want it to matter in the wrong way.
Correct. And, you know, I was thinking about it with Amy. She is a really good runner, so I don't know if she can get ahead.
And that's a key aspect. And that's a key thing to consider. It's like the rich get richer in some circumstances where a good runner can risk it more on the rower because they trust themselves and they've proven to themselves time and time again, not just in training but in competition, that they can run well under fatigue. So that could be something as an advantage for her.
And Amy's fearless too when it comes to just going out and kicking butt. So I'm excited to see how this 2-mile run ends up.
We've already started with a 4-mile run, 2 2-mile loops. So going out for the 3rd time, you start to pick up. For you guys, you go out there, it's like, I now get an idea of the elevation changes, maybe the turn, that puddle of water on the left at that stop sign. Are you using those markers out there to help pace you out on the competition field?
Oh, absolutely. You're going to be much more familiar. Even as they came back into that second loop of the first block with the 4 miles, you can see a different composure, a relaxation from the athletes. Now, as we get ready to exit the rowers, though, it's the consideration of this hill that they've got to climb, and they got to get ready to see where the rest of the competition is as well.
See some athletes looking left and right, but that poker face and maybe wearing the sunglasses so you can't really see what I'm looking at. Enter to win one of 10 pairs of eyewear from Zenni Optical. Customize your style and get the frames that you need. Jeff Adler on the right side of your screen, your 2023 CrossFit Games champ. Roman Krennikov took 2nd that year. Was wearing the leader jersey when he broke his foot on the 3rd to last event on Sunday. And Roman Krenikov's hand in the air with 50 meters left to go. As he looks to be the first athlete off the rower. And Adrian, you said, look, it goes uphill right away. You take the turn over the berm, but you get to look down and see where everybody is at first.
Yeah, and so Roman's going to try to gather himself, build some speed up and around this turn, because he's going to run into an incline that he's actually got to climb. And it's going to give him some advantage to doing that, but then he's going to get a clear shot and a view of who's still on the rower.
Well, there's clear shot, and then there's being able to see who you're clearly chasing. The advantage a lot of times in foot races, especially on a course like this, is to get out of eyesight of the person trying to chase you.
Yeah, you want to get as far as possible, as quickly as possible. It's called the heartbreak, and you want to break some hearts right away. So building that gap between you and your competitors is super important.
Roman Krenikov, your leader for the men, past the 35-minute mark, a 2-mile loop left to go, with Jeff Adler now trying to chase him down.
And they're getting a little bit of a decline right now, so they're running down, being loose with their running. That way, they can be ready to go on that flat.
Krenikov has basically the biggest lead we've seen out here on the course. Obviously, you're going to pace a 4-miler out buy-in than a little bit more than your 2-mile finish, but we still have that turnaround point, so not only you're going to get a better idea of where people are at, who's chasing you down, because at the moment, you just got to hope you've got enough in the tank to keep that lead.
Yeah, and this is where we're really starting to see the recipe to success come together, right? Like, did they stick to the disciplined paces early in the race? Was the 4-mile to plan? Was the road to plan? And now this is where desire simply sets in.
Roman Krenikov, far right side of your screen, about a 30-meter gap between him and Jeff Adler. A bigger gap than Adler had on Roman on that first 2-mile loop. And Roman closed the distance on the second one. Hand in the air for Tia and Kringle. So Kringle has made up almost 10 to 15 seconds on the row as Justin Medeiros gets off the rower. And look, I know you said Amy's fearless, but man, it's different than not being afraid of a nurse shark and a great white shark. So, you know, you're off the rower with the 7-time CrossFit Games champion with a 2-mile race to the finish line.
You just got to go. It's time. It's go time. This is your time to shine out there, Amy. So you got this.
You can take it one of two ways, right? You could take it as it's like, oh, this is, you know, I'm racing the best and this is intimidating. Or I have an opportunity to do something very few people have done in this sport, and that's beat Tia Claire Toomey in an event.
At anything.
That's
anything. Right. Yeah, beating her at anything is a statement at large, and for her to get off the rower with this intensity and, of course, the audacity to think like, okay, hey, here's the champ. I'm trying to run her down. I'm going to make a statement here in event 1. It's a wonderful thing to see. We're here to watch athletes compete, and that's what they showed up to do.
Hand in the air for Lucy Campbell. So Lucy still holding on to that 3rd place position as the hand in the air goes up right for Haley.
You're watching that body language from some of these athletes. Lucy getting off, trying to find her foot stride and foot strike.
Tia has, on the right side of your screen, Tia has pulled ahead of Amy just a little bit, but we still look, 2 miles is a long way to go after 35 minutes of rowing and running. Haley Adams off the rower. 4th overall in this event for the women. And on the left side of your screen, Roman Krenikov making his way to the turnaround point. That's going to be huge. You get a real good idea of who's chasing him, how far away they are. And depending on how close or how far, it might be a boost of energy for you at that turnaround.
Absolutely, and this goes back to that heartbreak that Bethany alluded to earlier. That distance between you and the person ahead of you, if you get an opportunity to get around that loop just ahead enough, to prove that, hey, I'm out of your distance. You'll have an opportunity then to be in complete control of the race outcome.
Run, row, run. We've already done a 4-mile run. I say we, the 4-mile run, 3,000-meter row. And they're working on their final 2-mile run. Roman Krennikov leading the charge as he's getting close to that halfway turnaround point. Right side of your screen, Danielle Brandon, Maddie Sturt with hands in the air for their 3K row. Approaching the 40-minute mark as Danielle Brandon on the right side of the screen is done.
She got off that rower with a pretty fast transition right into a quite fast run. So that, from a body language perspective, shows a lot of positivity. Same with Maddie.
Yeah, they're feeling good.
Yeah.
Which is impressive after 4 miles of running and a 3K row, and they're going up an incline. So it's impressive that they're just getting after it like that.
Right side of your screen, your overall leader for the women, Tia-Claire Toomey. Looks like she's extending the lead on Amy Kringle.
And that's one of the things with Tia is, of course, self-awareness at an extremely high level. All these years of competing, her chasing number 8 this weekend. But right when she started to run, it was the stride cadence that I noticed that stood out between her and Amy. Tia being a little bit shorter with her stride, but more frequently getting her feet back to the ground, and Amy trying to elongate her stride. Now it seems to be paying off really well for Tia in this back stretch.
Left side of your screen, Roman Krennikov trying to hold off Jeff Adler.
Alexis Raptis with 40 meters to go.
As we are at the turnaround point. So Roman's going to get a good idea who's chasing and how close, and Jeff Adler has closed the gap significantly.
Oh, there we go.
And we saw this in 2023. Roman looking for a little redemption from the 5K against Jeff Adler.
1 mile back through that finish line.
Tia looks alone on the right side of your screen. Let's go down to Mike Arsenault, who's on the course.
Thanks, Chase. Yeah, we're seeing a great race on the men's side, but the women's side is a little bit more competitive than we may have originally thought, with Tia neck and neck there with Amy Kringle. Bethany, question for you. As someone who's competed against Tia, what is the mindset when you're up against a 7-time champion, a woman who appears to have no holes in her game? So mentally, what are these other female athletes going through as they approach competing on the same floor in the same event with an athlete like Tia?
I think it depends on the athlete. If you're a little bit more on the rookie side, I think, sometimes you have to go for it. I think that's exactly what Amy did in this situation. She went for it on the rower. But a lot of the veterans, they know how impressive it is, and so do the rookies. And you want to be as competitive as possible. Everyone wants to get on the podium. But at the same time, like I said at the beginning, know thyself and where you're at.
I would say 50 meters into the row.
Start to see the leaders, or at least top athletes, pacing each other. Tia has passed her first male athlete off the rower. Not often we have the men and women doing the exact same workout. Oftentimes we'll see that in event 1.
I love that, though. I love it when we do the same exact thing, because you can just see, not that I'm all about pro women, but it's really cool to see where the women stack up against the men with the exact same workout.
One thing the CrossFit Games does so well is just that balance between both across the field. And I think it's one of the most balanced sporting events we do have in the space. Roman Krennikov, left side of your screen. Jeff Adler trying to chase him down. Now, what might be interesting is that this double back course is not a lot of room. I'm curious what that last straightaway is going to look like traffic-wise, with people coming off the rower and 2 athletes barreling down to the finish line.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can even start to get a depiction of that right now as we start to see athletes passing by side. There's not a ton of room on that sidewalk. And if Adler's not careful and cautious enough to have that awareness in the final stretch and what that'll look like, he's going to have to make his push earlier than he might anticipate if he plans on passing Roman.
Looks like Roman has stretched that lead just a little bit since that halfway point.
Amy really recovered some ground there. Tia had about a 30-second lead
But Jeff Adler, I mean, talk about a guy that has transformed since he first came on the scene. You couldn't tell me back in 2018, 2019, Jeff Adler would be one of the best runners in the sport.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, of course, his coach and partner, Carol Lambre, and then also working and partnering with Chris Henshaw through his years and his development of his running as a skill and also the development of his aerobic capacity.
Yeah, I think that was pretty impressive to see when he started getting a lot faster and running a lot more. And there he goes. Wow.
Jeff, oh man, that is not only did you just pass him, but pass him with speed.
Oh, yeah.
Almost as if Roman decelerated. That's how fast Jeff accelerated around him, which at this point in a race, to have that kind of kick, control, and power in your stride, that is practiced and predicted.
Can Roman respond? Jeff Adler takes the lead. Not a lot remains distance-wise for these athletes. We're just past the 45-minute mark. Adler has passed Roman. You can see Roman's got someone chirping in his ear, trying to run with him on the sideline, try to stay with Adler.
The real MVP there, whoever that is, just supporter, coacher, cuer, whoever that is. It's like we're getting a great mix of some fans and some coaches along the path, giving people shout outs, giving people times to hit and split, saying, hey, so-and-so's behind you here, so-and-so's there. That's a great help when you're out there in the middle of a grind.
Jeff Adler makes his move. And leading the charge, Roman Krennikov does not have enough room. And your 2023 CrossFit Games champ takes event 1 of the 2025 CrossFit Games.
We're impressed, but we're not shocked.
Roman Krennikov takes second. Ricky Garrard will round out your top 3. And we may be seeing this and saying this all weekend long. Garrard will take third. What a pass by Adler. I mean, just a cat and mouse game out there.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. Literally, like we mentioned, it was practiced and predicted. He knew exactly what he needed to do to end up in first place.
Tia Toomey leading the women. What a gap between your top 3. Tia is making her way. It might be the last time we see her in a color other than red and white this weekend. It's Austin Hatfield is trying to hold off Jay Crouch. So Jay Crouch has made a bit of a move on the second half of this event. Great start for Austin Hatfield. He started very, very slow last year at the CrossFit Games, a place outside of 30th. And to take a top 5 in an event that usually gave him a bottom 5 is huge for Austin Hatfield.
Absolutely huge, even for he and Jay Crouch coming across the finish line now. But for Austin Hatfield to understand what events are known, what is coming up in the Coliseum, this is a great way to start the weekend for him.
Kalyan Souza.
Wow.
Look at a top 6 finish. James Sprague looking over his shoulder. Your 2024 CrossFit Games champ. James Sprague just did a half Ironman a few months ago leading into the games this year.
Great way to prepare for a long event just like this, which we know, hey, at some point, we're going an hour or close to an hour at the CrossFit Games. It's important to test these long time domains outside of the scope of what we normally see in that 12 to 15 minute range. And that's a great way to prepare for James.
Jason Hopper. Should be good enough for 8th. Good start for Jason Hopper. Jason Hopper, I feel like, is one of those that rides the momentum wave based off his performance on the weekend, so not a bad start for Hopper.
Yeah, I agree. I think through the ups and downs of the weekend, and this is something that high-level competitors can control very well, but Hopper tends to ride that high if it can be established, and this should get him off on a good foot, too.
Chris Ibarra will take 9th. Good start for Chris Ibarra. Harry Lightfoot
down the way.
Make his way to the finish line. And there you see Tia Toomey.
A long one. Here's some cheers.
Huge gap between her and Amy Kringle. Crazy.
Harry Lightfoot will finish. Tia Claire Toomey, her 10th year at the CrossFit Games, has won a third of the events as she's entered and add another one to the list. Your 7-time CrossFit Games champion on the path to 8 takes event number 1. Well, high five to rookie Ty Jenkins.
What a way to start.
Good start for Justin Medeiros, your 2021 and 2022 Games champ. Amy Kringle will take 2nd. Great start for Kringle this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Amy Kringle throughout the weekend. I have a strong feeling of that. She's here to compete, and she's showing it right there to start this event 1.
Colin Bossart is in.
And another cheers continuing, folks.
Rookie this year, Isaac Newman.
Asking for some cheers. What do you say, folks?
Good start for the rookie.
44 unofficially.
When you see the athletes pumping up the crowd on the entry, they're fired up about their finish.
Isaac.
Dallin Pepper stood on the podium last year in 2nd place. One of those athletes we are looking at this weekend to not only repeat a podium finish, but possibly stand on top of it this year. Won the Games 3 times as a teenager. We have 6 Games teen champions now competing in individual competition this year between the men and the women.
As he gets it done. And then also
Tiago Lucis is in. Zanoni's done. And here comes Lucy Campbell. So Lucy Campbell, welcome back to the CrossFit Games. That's a 3rd place finish for Lucy Campbell. Tudor Magda's coming in. Haley looks like she's running away from the cops.
Yeah, she's cooking.
There's nobody behind you. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, pump your brakes, right? And if you're a coach or a fan, if you know you're saying, hey, let off the gas a little, these contractions can cost you throughout the course of the weekend. We got a lot of work left to do.
Haley out here seeing ghosts, but that's a good finish for Haley Adams.
It's a good mental win, though. I think when you do that, it's a good mental win for yourself.
Looks like she's trying to hold off Ariel Lowen. Ariel Lowen closed the gap pretty good.
Her running has gotten significantly better. That 5K that she did a couple years ago. Amazing.
Yeah, not only is her running getting better, but she's getting stronger. So when we talk about checking the boxes, there's Bill Leahy across the finish line.
That Achilles injury that he had.
The turnaround that Bill Leahy has had in the last year from that, as you said, rupturing his Achilles, trying to qualify for the Games last year, qualifies in the same year. It's incredible. Miriam Von Rohr is in.
Yeah, background in endurance sports. Von Rohr, the winner of the CrossFit Open. We wondered, how would she perform in competition live in a field like this? But it's a great way to start the CrossFit Games in 2025 for her.
Maddie Sturt is in. Where is Danielle Brandon? I thought she was 4th off the rower. Hope Mertens is in. Janikowski, Maddie Sturt, and there's Danielle Brandon. Jenny Muir, Abby Dolman,
Staying in that 1, 2, and 3. The next 3 to finish up. And Mert, Jen, no one around her. She will close it out with a time of 53:47.
Peter Ellis. Back-to-back CrossFit Games trips
For
for the man out of Australia.
Here he is. Make some noise for Peter Ellis.
Yeah, we talk about the psychological and physiological adaptations that are taking place out here, even when you compete, not just when you train. But Bethany, it's like when you're bringing in the tail end of a race like this, you're not necessarily as pumped as everyone else that finished ahead of you, so you're more tired and you're a little bit emotionally beat up. How do you balance that as now your efforts and attitude have to be on almost to event two?
Yeah, you just gotta, it's the next one, next workout mentality. You can't worry about what just happened, but you just got to move on to the next one.
Lydia Fish just crossed the finish line, so that's a top 10 finish for the rookie.
That's great.
We are approaching the 55-minute mark. Now the team competition will be coming up after this, doing basically the same exact thing, but it's the collective total time of the athletes. There's not going to be a time cap to stop the individual, so everybody reluctantly is going to have to finish this race on the individual side.
That's right.
It'll be the Wild West out there.
Addie Canio's in.
Finishing 18th last year in a rookie debut. Improve upon that.
These are all amazing times, though. Like, it's incredible what they're doing out there.
That's a great point. I was like, listen, guys, as soon as you guys watch it at home, go hit the run, let us know. But it seemed like forever ago, but Jeff Adler made that huge pass on Roman Karenikov, taking the event. He's down with Mike Arsenault.
Not to mention,
Well, Jeff, just working through a little leg fatigue there on event number 100 points, tremendous performance. Your running ability is without question, but your tactical ability on running events is very impressive. So can you take me through each piece of that? What was the strategy on the first run, the row, and then the second run to enable you to have that finishing kick to take down Roman at the end?
I mean, on the first 4 miles, my goal was just to lead the pack and see what the pace was. And then if I could slow down, I would. If I couldn't, then I would just keep the pace. And the boys held up more than I thought, which gave us a really great race. When I saw Roman was only 10 seconds behind, I knew he would catch up on the row and pass. But I was okay with that, knowing that I can run pretty quick. But I almost threw the towel in on the turn of the second mile. But I mean, gotta go for the 100 points and get as much as I can now, because I'm gonna lose some in the weekend somewhere, so might as well make the most of it.
Well, how do you flip that switch mentally? Because it would be easy to not put the hammer down. You just get 5 less points, then the event win. So what is it about your inner drive that allows you to create that kick?
I mean, I was thinking about later in the weekend, if there's a tie break, if there's something like that, first place, that 100 points can be really valuable. So might as well take it if I can, and then maybe pull it back when I need to throughout the weekend.
Well, great start to your 2025 CrossFit Games. Rest up. We'll see you for event number 2.
Thank you.
Something so important there, especially this weekend with the field that we have for the men, the programming that we have set for the entire weekend. Those 4 points could be vital come Sunday.
Oh, every point. Every single point. And it was a complete shock to me, Chase, for him to say, I almost packed it in.
Yeah.
I almost threw in the towel. It did not look like that whatsoever. As he rounded that turn, that had to be the moment where it was like, okay, I'm going to stay close enough. And then when he made that choice to pass, it was clear as day what was about to happen.
That's the beauty of these athletes, though. They make it look effortlessly, and it's just easy for them. But it's really hard. They're suffering inside.
We go from one champ to another. Mike Arsenault's down with Tia Toomey.
Well, Tia, great start on your march to potentially an 8th CrossFit Games title. Just saw you debriefing with Jeff Adler there a few minutes ago after the race. What kind of notes were you guys sharing?
Well, I was just explaining to him at the end there that at the start, because I had such a horrible open finish, I was at the very, very back. So I shot out of the gate, and when we're coming down around the boom, down the little hill, I realized I'm actually at the front of the pack, with the boys, so I can actually calm down. And then Jeff was saying, yeah, I just remember previous years, I've gone out so hot, and he's like, please do it, burn the boys out for the rest of the weekend, I don't care. So, we were just kind of laughing about how hot I went out at the start.
Well, that continued throughout the entirety of the 4 miles. You were on the rower well before the rest of the female athletes, although Amy did close the gap on you on the row. Were you aware of that, and did that concern you at all, knowing that you had 2 more miles left to run?
I mean, it's definitely something that I was aware of. Like, she made up, I think, like 300 meters on me. And, you know, I knew that that very well could be a possibility for some of the athletes that may be stronger rowers as opposed to stronger runners. I just knew that, like, as long as we got off the row the same time, I'm more often than not could actually probably run a little bit harder than the rest of the field. So, honestly, didn't let it catch too much up, like just stay to the game plan. I can't control how fast or slow they go, so it was just a matter of staying in my own lane and making sure, like, you know, when the commentator's calling out where we were, just being engaged on where they are, and we got off at the same time, which gave me a really solid position to, like, run out the heavy legs and get back in the lead.
You've had a major endurance focus on your training throughout this CrossFit Games season. I'm curious, do you think 2025 Tia would have fared better than any other version of yourself on this event?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think that my running is stronger than what it has been in the past. And that's just purely, like you said, I have been running a lot this year, and it's definitely been a nice change for the body. And, you know, we'll see for the rest of the weekend if it has, you know, changed anything else in my abilities. But I definitely think that I would have given previous Tia athlete a run for her money.
Well, it paid off with 100 points here in event number 1. Tia, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congrats to Tia Claire Toomey. Here's a number for you, 55. 55 event wins at the CrossFit Games as an individual for Tia Claire Toomey.
That number doesn't even seem rational.
Yeah, that's scary. I think it's also scary that she said that her running is stronger than it was in the past, because she was already significantly way better than most people. So it's scary what she does. It really is.
And it's also interesting to see is that she almost got out of her own game plan because she was so frustrated of where she was and that she took off so early, a little bit outside. Actually, 42 wins. Sorry. 42.
It's still
and again,
which is still ridiculous.
Completely irrational. Again, in my own mind, 42 event wins. As of course we're watching these champs be champs, they're already onto their cooling down. They're getting their mind and their body prepared for event 2 to come. But even in that interview, Tia alluding to the fact that you don't have control over what other competitors do. Jeff shared the same thing. Hey, I wanted to see what the boys would do. The boys came out to compete. They held faster paces than I thought. I almost packed it in, right? But what you're getting a layer into, which Mike is so good at unveiling this mindset of these athletes as he gets into these interviews, is that there's levels even to the achievement that we see here. It's not just physical prowess. These athletes that we often see at the top of the podium are also the most intelligent and self-aware in the competition field.
See Jeff Hadler and Tia Toomey talking to Dave Castro, the director of the CrossFit Games, who concocted this event. As on the right side of your screen, I believe that's Bronislav Alenkowicz. Should be your last male athlete still out on the course.
Chase, anyone still looming on the course, as we understand, True Fitness has a compromise, right? Anyone still looming on that course is really excited about maxing out their back squat. Let's just be honest.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
It's give and take.
It's a little
give and take.
And a little take. And anyone that's still out there is likely really excited about the back squat.
Oh, yes.
And they knew this wasn't going to be their cup of tea. But Bronislaw got some of the best-looking calves I've ever seen in sports overall. And so he's happy to get that run all wrapped up.
Big Braun is in. Qualified earlier this year. 36 years old. He's competed in the Masters division as well.
It's amazing. Amazing to have that qualification under your belt to be in the 35 to 39 age group category in the pursuit to be the fittest on earth, and then be able to still punch your ticket here in this division. It's phenomenal.
Now, You can see the teams on the left side waiting in the wings. Probably looking at body language and posture and just, all right, how bad was it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If they know anyone that's coming off the field, absolutely. Yeah.
We're doing that with every heat that goes on, every workout. We're like, what do they look like? What's going on? People will tell you too. They're like, that one sucked. Or, no, that was great. It'll be easy.
You ever
Which
walk off and be
scary.
like, oh, so bad? He's like, it was fine. I was just fine.
You can't always trust them when they say it's easy either. Yeah.
Last athlete on the course.
That cheer tells me something. This is your final competitor of event 1 in the CrossFit Games. Ladies and gentlemen, cheer her across that line.
As Louisa Marquez.
And ladies and gentlemen, keep that applause coming. Big round of applause.
So
for
that'll
all your
wrap up the
athletes.
individuals.
As
As two champs just having a casual conversation like they didn't row enough earlier.
Right.
As the individuals will wrap here. And Jeff Adler took the games in 2023. Did not compete in 2024. And he is back on top.
4K row. And
The athletes that I'm watching here are going to be coming out of AOD Blueprint, specifically Carrie Hewitt and Harry Keene. The reason being, they're one of those athletes that were taking on the hybrid fitness racing trend all off season, continuing their training leading up to the games. They saw success in it, so we'll see if it pays to play on that Oregon The Run on a course that's not always the same. We'll see how it goes.
Bella, thank you. Our coverage today presented by the United States Border Patrol. Be an agent of strength as we get set to start things off.
Athletes stand by.
Tola Maracanyo, right side of your screen with CrossFit Oslo. Butcher's Lab right next to him. And then CrossFit Undivided in the middle, right at the front of the pack. That's an interesting crew to keep an eye on out of Long Island. But Bethany and Adrian, right off the start here, this is the first time ever that an entire team has run simultaneously at the CrossFit Games without being tethered. What impact does that make?
I think it's a little bit more fun to watch. It's the Wild West, like I was saying, but it allows those endurance athletes to finally shine out there. And so they're going to take advantage of that and take what's theirs.
Adrian, how does it impact you when usually you've got somebody tied to you with a rope? You can encourage the athletes that are behind you. Right now, you're leaving them behind you.
Yeah, it's tough, and two things can be true, Joel. I think that the athletes who can shine are going to take full advantage of that and set a strong pace. The athletes that are going to find themselves toward the back, however, sometimes are now absent of that encouragement or that accountability that helps them push that threshold that they have to sustain in order to give their team an opportunity at success. So we're going to see how strong is the mental fortitude for those athletes that are carrying, no pun intended, the heaviest weight of the team by bringing up the backside.
Yeah, it's definitely a give or take with that, because I'm sure when they're tethered, there's like a dreading thing. They're like, oh my gosh, stop pushing me along. But at the same time, there's that mental side too that's like, okay, I have to stay with my team the entire time.
This is a 4-mile run to begin. 2 miles out, 2 miles back. And at the turning points, it gets a little bit difficult to make some passes because you will have competitors going in opposite directions on both sides of this course. Kind of have to pick and choose your moments.
Yeah, with a lot more people on the field of play, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they have the turnaround. There's definitely a lot of water out there as well.
Bethany, let's talk about the amount of people that are out there, though, because you love drafting when you run. So are you finding some bodies to get behind here?
Absolutely. I love drafting. It's definitely something that comes from my running background, but use people around you. Use a group. So if you see people that are kind of running the same pace, why not get behind them and just kind of use them a little bit?
Adrian, you all talked about during the individual competition that this event was announced back on May 20th. Before some people had even qualified on the individual side, semifinals were still going on. So teams have had a lot of time to train this, game plan this, strategize this. We talked about the fact that you're not tethered to your teammates, so you can kind of release the hounds here at the front. If you're a team, you've qualified, you've known this event, how do you go about training this from the standpoint of bringing up the people that might be at the back and how you encourage them, how you get their minds trained the right way when they might not have a teammate right next to them?
Yeah, there's a lot of practice and communication, of course, that goes into it. From a preparation perspective, we're looking at really optimizing each individual's preparation. And so what that means is that, of course, as a team competition, it's important to work out together, to learn each other's body postures and body movements and communication. However, when it comes to this specific test, the athletes had to spend that time developing their own capacity so that then, wherever they started at, they could make some increases in gains, or in this case, reduction of times on the run and the row, in order to give their team the biggest output when it comes to the points on a leaderboard.
Obvious question mark here. How do you score this thing if you're not tied together as a team? It's an adding up of your individual scores. So the people at the front, people in the middle, people at the back, you just add those numbers up. Whoever's got the lowest number wins. Campbell City is towards the front. That's Evan Rogers, all green, with the neon yellow wrist wraps as well. Former Philadelphia Phillies minor leaguer, current firefighter out of Campbell City CrossFit in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He's used to running 60 feet. No, 90 feet. 60 feet, 6 inches as if you get hit. 90 feet to get to the bases. This is a little bit different.
Yeah, very different. Very different body posture, composure. I mean, and what I see right now from him, he's looking very composed. So it's not like this is a whiff for him, where we've seen this notoriously on the team side, where teams often choose to go team, Joel, because they have more imbalances than a lot of the individual competitors. They might have some really high capacity in certain aspects and a little bit lower in others, but this seems to be right up his alley in regards to he's nailing a really relaxed, composed body language, at least here in this first mile or so.
You can step out of it.
It's a good morning for a run. It was 57 degrees when the individuals started this morning. We are in the 60s here as the teams get going.
Yes, nice and brisk. So that means that we're going to see some really good times on the run.
What is a good time for you guys as you strategize this out, knowing you've still got to row and run again?
That's a good question, and I think that really brings up the topic of self-awareness a lot for these team members. It's like, no matter how bad you want to support your team and like, I'm going to sell my soul for my squad, I'm going to do whatever I can to get the fast time. It's like, no, this isn't that kind of race. In fact, a lot of the effort that you garner early is going to set you up for failure later. So for us, I mean, we saw some of these individuals come in literally around the mid-40s, 46 minutes being the fastest time. And I think that we'll have some teams here follow probably just a couple minutes behind that time range.
Bethany, how many 40-minute workouts are you doing in training?
Ooh, I don't know, maybe like 1 or 2 a week. And so, especially, well, I don't know, with the running, you're only going to do probably 1 long run a week. But they knew this workout very far in advance. So you know they were hitting this workout over and over again.
6 minutes in, we're looking for that turnaround. That'll give us our mile pace. Saw the individuals. Jeff Adler went in 6:05 for that first mile.
Yeah,
Ricky
like
Garrard right on his tail.
6:15. Very impressive. They actually slowed down once they saw that. They're like, oh, that was a little too fast.
And here we are coming into the turnaround. Not all that much slower than the individuals at 6:27 for that initial turn. And there are a couple of women right behind on the chase pack here. We saw Tia Toomey right at the front of the pack on the individual side.
And I can relate to what some of these athletes probably are experiencing as an opportunity. When I was on the team side, we loved pursuing the highest level of all things. But when we knew we were going to get to do an event that would exactly align with the individuals, we were always like, maybe we can beat a few of the individuals that finished at the top of this one, and we want to show our stuff here. Even on the team side, really being able to put on an exhibition of their fitness and capacity on this run, row, run event, I think is really unique in regards to, we love to see events when they align from category to category or across many different age groups even, which we've seen in the games past. So this is a really cool opportunity for these team athletes to see exactly how they stack up amongst the fittest on earth.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for those endurance athletes. Like you said, this is kind of like their really first chance to be able to do that because they're not tethered to anybody. So to be able to see where their runs stack up with indies, pretty exciting.
Several teams to keep an eye on here early. Bella talked about that Blueprint AOD squad out of England between O.J. Keane and Carrie Hewitt, who compete in fitness racing, training through just the CrossFit methodology, but they are endurance athletes. Invictus is an interesting one to keep an eye on, especially on the women's side, because Emily Rethwell was an All-American middle distance runner at Point Loma Nazarene, a Division II school out in San Diego. She's always been one of the better runners as a team's competitor in CrossFit.
And even on the indie side too. Like, she has always done very good with the runs. So I'm excited to see where she stacks up by the end of this race.
A little bit of a check over the shoulder here, as Evan Rogers has now pulled himself in front from Camel City. Can you game plan a little bit? If you know you're a better runner, how much of this is I have to run my own race, and how much of this might be, okay, I'm faster than some of my teammates, our score is our total. If I've got a couple of teammates that might be towards the back of the pack, yeah, I'm good, but I need to be better than good today because I need to make up for something.
That's definitely something that you're talking about beforehand, your game planning. And I'm sure a lot of his teammates go for it, especially with Evan up there in the front. If you're good at this, go. Get us as many points as possible. Rack it up. Get some good times.
You're not pulling that trigger, though, until probably the second run.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because again, still you have to stay in your own little window, right? But that threshold for everyone. So competing on a team, there's a lot of times you are going to take the floor, and you're going to feel like you can be the relaxed portion of the team because you're so fit that you know, oh, I'm going to have to slow down a little bit for Adrian. Oh, I'm going to slow down a little bit for Josh or Emily, right? Like, you're considering the fitness of your other athletes, and you're like, for me, I'll just need to pace so that they can succeed. In this instance, everyone took this field with the highest level of urgency possible because, Bethany, I really need you to get your personal best so then I can do my personal best, and then we're going to see where it all settles. So, Joel, that was a great question and a great way to tee up the topic of all these athletes are going to come down to selling their soul at the end, regardless of clearly what everyone else is. So even these two men that were watching the lead, it's like, do they want to win and beat each other? Yes, but also if you're the leader and you can win by a minute, you got to try to win by a minute because every second counts.
Evan Rogers continues to be the lead man here out of Camel City. I do believe that is O.J. Keane drifting behind him. And that was one of the people that Bella Martin highlighted off the top out of Blueprint AOD in England. O.J. Keane is 35 years old. He started CrossFit as a methodology, not just competing, at the age of 30.
Wow.
Didn't set foot in a gym until he was 25. It's never too late.
Never is. And his teammates say that he looks like a Greek god. Which, come on.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's amazing, and I think we see that a lot on the team side. We hear these different stories. I mean, of course, we get it on the individual side as well, but we really get a really beautiful depiction of our community when we look at the team side. Athletes from different backgrounds, different ages, different ethnicities, all coming together for a common goal, and I think it's a great way to fire people up.
And Keene's plan, by the way, is to compete in Columbus at the Age Group CrossFit Games in a couple of weeks. He's one of several Masters athletes that have qualified both here on teams and to go to Columbus later this month.
Yeah, there's also 6 women from the 35 to 39 Masters, which is so impressive. So impressive. We love to see that.
Yeah, we talk about, of course, in our methodology, we're trying to build our fitness through our years, right? And that's how we measure health. It's fitness through our years, not just our current state and status. So while we want to build as much fitness as we can right now, we want to sustain it. And I think all these athletes that we're talking about that are into the 35 to 39 and, of course, beyond in our age groups are a really great example of that. And for them, a lot of them psychologically, this might just be a touch-up opportunity for them to go and win the CrossFit Games in their age group here in the next month or so.
Dylan Hamming is third here, wearing 303 with the red hair pulled back in a bun. He's out of 8th Day CrossFit, veteran teams competitor. 17:07, Keane and Rogers, they are in a dead tie coming off of that first loop. Then Hamming at 17:08. Nikita Yundov out of the Rhino CrossFit team. Trains out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and I got to saw Nikita throw down a good amount as an individual in some competitions this year at the semifinal level at NorCal and also at the TFX. And what a tremendous amount of fitness. You're seeing some of these athletes that are certainly still some of the top athletes in the entire world just choosing to go team instead of pursuing it on the individual side.
I think he ranked 33rd in the worldwide ranking for the Open this year. Nikita, that's pretty impressive.
And the way the season was structured this year allowed for a lot of individual athletes to wind up going team. Nikita Yundov was one of the people that said, I'm in this as an individual, and if I don't get my individual goals, I'm on a team. And a lot of teams had alternates that were ready to go if somebody qualified to the individual side.
Yeah, I heard a lot of those stories at the semifinal level. It was like, hey, I'm here. I'm going to go all in as an individual. Of course, if I get that opportunity to be a top 30 men or women in the entire world at the CrossFit Games, I'm going to take that. But also, my eyes and my mind are also with my team if that opportunity doesn't present itself. And that's what we're seeing here at the CrossFit Games. Is this was some of these athletes' backup plan, and now they're all in trying to get their team on the podium at the CrossFit Games.
Well, and Adrian, you're a former team champion. Team is a great way for a lot of these athletes that maybe have not qualified individual to gain games experience on their route.
Yeah, I tell athletes that are coming up in through our space to look for any opportunity you can to get on the biggest stage possible. And for many, it is teaming up with others, whether it's locally or regionally. Of course, this year they were allowed to create, quote-unquote, these super teams. And these athletes are garnering not only competition experience, but they're getting a behind-the-curtain perception on how are these elite individuals preparing? What do they do? What is it like? What is it like when you show up at an event 30 minutes early and you got to stand in a corral and then just 3, 2, 1, go for a 6-mile run and a 3K row, right? Like all of these things, Bethany, you recognize this, but when you're a CrossFit Games individual as a rookie, it's all so brand new. But if maybe you get a year or two of experience on a team, it might lend itself as a bit of an advantage in that competition field.
It definitely helps. We've seen a lot of athletes do that over the years, go team for a couple of years and then switch over to Indy, and they always have a really good rookie season for their individual years because they've had that experience. They feel more comfortable. They don't feel less than out there. They're not scared. They're ready to go.
Rogers, Keene, and Hamming, or Rogers, Hamming, and Keene across your screen are the top 3 here. That is from Camel City, Blueprint AOD, and 8th Day. Leading the way to come back to Jennings Landing, where they will hop on the rowers. Every athlete will do their own 3K row. So you're responsible for 12K as a team. Not great at math. I think I got that one.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Got it.
My whiteboard briefs are always interesting.
I feel like everyone's whiteboard briefs are pretty interesting. This is the introduction to any class. You get up there in front of the whiteboard and you're trying to be descriptive. Maybe you're adding in how many pull-ups are going to be in the workout total or how much they're going to run. And we've all whiffed a time or two with our math there at the whiteboard.
You can see Evan Rogers checking over the shoulder. He's trying to keep OJ Keene a little bit behind him. Quick checks of the watch. Always watching pacing.
For being a baseball player, this is amazing. He's been working hard on some long-distance endurance running.
Evan Rogers played 4 years at Division II Mars Hill. My man hit 19 homers as a senior. So he doesn't even run the bases. He just jogs them.
He trots.
That's why he's got the endurance.
He's flexing. Yeah, and as we settle into this second lap here, I think this is, again, where we talked about this with the individuals, but this is where the rubber meets the road. For lack of a better example, where experienced runners are really showing, and these guys that have, in the top 3 that have really broken away from the rest of the pack, have clearly settled into a comfortable, yet uncomfortable pace, right? When I say comfortable, I mean it's manageable, but of course they're all at the top end of their threshold, looking to come back to that row in a really strong position to row their, hopefully, what is a very predicted pace.
What is that pace, typically, you thinking?
Well, for the men earlier, we saw them get off that rower faster than 12 minutes. And so we can assume that a lot of these guys, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, Bethany, where it's like we don't know how competitive you really want to push to be on the rower. We saw Roman Krennikov make a pass. He passed 2 individuals. He passed Ricky Garrard and Jeff Adler, but then Jeff Adler was able to reconcile that on the back half of the run. So much of this time is spent on this run. We can expect these guys to be off the rower in just under around 12 minutes total time, and then they'll be right back on the course.
Yeah, you're going to make up way more time on the run than you are on the row. So almost having a more relaxed pace on the rower is going to help you with that last 2 miles of just kicking butt and taking names, because those last 2 miles are going to be tough, especially when you're going a little bit uphill right at the beginning. You just have to, you got to go for it.
18 minutes in here to this first 4-mile run. Just for perspective, again, reminder that your total team score is your total team time. And we do have some athletes that have finished lap 1 here coming back into Jennings Landing. So as you're looking at a handful of athletes that are probably coming to about 3/4 of the way through this opening run, they've maybe got a full almost lap advantage on some of the rest of the field. So the math will be interesting at the end of the day.
Yeah, we're going to see such disparity here from the leaders to the final finishers. It'll be quite wild. But again, it's just an example of what you get when you're competing on the team side, right? Like there was a great amount of variability on the individual side when we're talking top 30 in the world, men and women. So on this, it's going to be even greater. And yeah, like you're mentioning, Joel, it will be quite a bit of math to see exactly how this all shakes out. However, it's going to be exciting because I think there's going to be, you know, some of these teams, what I'm getting to is that some of these leaders in the front are the ones that know they have to run really fast because some of their runners are going to really struggle.
What is interesting, though, and we're here on the second turn, so 3 miles in for these gentlemen, Dylan Hamming, who right now is running in 3rd for 8th day, is their strong guy. And he is running 3rd right now. So either Dylan Hamming has put in a lot of work, or he's been telling us he's really good at the wrong things for a couple of years.
Yeah, he's lying to us.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is that's some good paces right there with the run.
Yeah, and you love to see it, right? That's the development of an athlete in a proper way. If he's been having a strong history in strength development and he's got a really good resume in what he's built through his years, then finding this test out months ahead of time really lends itself as a great advantage to him. I mean, we can understand that a lot of athletes can kind of peak their what we would categorize as anaerobic/aerobic threshold right around that 8-week mark. It doesn't take much longer than that to reconcile where you're currently at and really optimize it. And so hopefully someone like him has been able to do that because he doesn't have to do the same type of strength training like all the other athletes leading into the game. So he can lean into that weakness really hard and let it shine here.
I'm good, thank you very much.
Hamming is a CrossFit legacy. His father, Steve, competed as a Masters athlete. Not only that, he won back in 2014.
Wow.
I love to see it when athletes do that, though. I love it when they're really strong at something and they decide to work on their weaknesses over and over and over again and make them a strength. It's really impressive.
Kind of go into strength maintenance mode.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then
that's all you
everything
need.
else gets lifted up.
Must be nice. Those are some, when it's nice when you got really good strength numbers and you can kind of put your hands behind your head and relax a little bit on that and just work on the running.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing. We've seen it. We categorize this in CrossFit as like the black box theory, where we've sent athletes into a training program where it might be biased or it might be slightly leveraged on what their weakness is, and then somehow through like an 8-week cycle, they come out and they're better at even the things they were good at already. Right, like, and it makes no logical explanation, but it's like they find a way, and our body responds in such a way that that overall increase in GPP or general physical preparedness allows you to be a better specialist at times.
Quick note, by the way, this is an open public course, so they just ran past what is clearly a group of people that are trying to go canoeing.
They're probably like, what is
very
going
confused.
on? But to your point, Adrian, that's some good genetics right there when that happens. Really good genetics.
O.J. Keene in the green bottoms on the right side, no shirt, out of Blueprint AOD. Blueprint is the affiliate in Worcestershire, England. AOD is the training program. Adapt or Die is what AOD stands for. And you might not know a whole lot about CrossFit Blueprint. They are one of the most well-represented gyms at these CrossFit Games because they've got a team. They have an individual male and an individual female, Amy Kringle and Harry Lightfoot.
When you get a camp like that shows up at the CrossFit Games, it's amazing to see. But what you've known then is that every day leading up all year long they've had opportunities to look each other in the eye, compete head-to-head, right, to develop this type of not just fitness but competitive nature that really tends to shine at the biggest stages because they're so conditioned to those circumstances. Like, oh, they know how to lead, they know how to follow, they've gotten their butt kicked in training, but also, hey, they hopefully have taken some dubs as well.
Well, and what's interesting is it's a second-year games team, half of it. Back in 2021, Harry Keene and Helen Nutter competed at the games, and they had a phenomenal first event. And they wound up in the final heat, and they said, oh, we have arrived, we've got this, and then they got smoked. And they wound up at the back of the pack, and then the third event, they had to turn around because they wound up back in the first heat and compete again almost right away. So it can be very humbling when you come to the CrossFit Games, and that's a good experience to have.
That's resilience right there at the finest level, right? You gotta find it, you gotta dig deep, you gotta be ready to rock and roll.
Did either one of you guys have one of those moments?
Oh, yeah. I think the first year at the games, I got a little slap in the face. So I was like, oh, gosh.
Yes. Mine came in the form of a paddle swim event in 2015 where we were on the prone paddle and had to swim a mile out and back after swimming 250 meters around a dock, right? Like, and so it's like I was out there in the ocean looking side to side. I'm like, I'm pretty far from everyone else, and this isn't where I wanted to be. It wasn't a terrible finish for me, but it was humbling to be out there in the ocean, and actually part of me was afraid for my life, to be honest with you. I'm like, what was that under my foot? I don't know what that was, but
great white.
Yeah, great white, no doubt.
Well, it's just like the things that you're really good at, people are 10 times better than you. And it's just a very humbling experience. I think for everybody at some point in their career when they get to the games, they're like, wow, I thought I was really good at this. And then you see other people that you're competing against, and you're like, I got some work to do.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the evolution of the sport of fitness, I believe. And CrossFit offers this opportunity. It can be for anyone. The beginning stage, the CrossFit Open, is for anyone across the world that can understand what it is, how to sign up and throw their name in the hat, do their best. What this allows it to be is that we see these names come, we've never seen. Who's this guy? Who's this person? Who's this woman? And they come out of the woodworks because everyone has the opportunity. And so, yes, it leads you to think like, I'm one of the best in the world at this. And then 2 years later, you're like, no, this person's got me now. And I didn't even know who they were.
Rogers, Keene, and Hamming coming in. So 25:06 for Rogers and Keene, 25:07 for Hamming. Quick note on the rowers, different than the individuals.
Yep.
Individuals was first come, first served on the rowers, all set to the same damper and the same foot settings. For the teams, these are all pre-assigned rowers, which means they had the opportunity to adjust their settings ahead of time, give or take a couple extra seconds saved. They all are on Rogue Echo rowers here, and those are built for anyone looking for reliable, smooth rides, whether you're just getting started or chasing that next PR. It's got a precision-calibrated flywheel. It delivers consistent resistance. Those quick-release foot straps make it easy to get in and out. When you are done, it all folds up and rolls away on oversized turf tires as well, so no matter where you're training, that official rower of CrossFit and the CrossFit Games, the Rogue Echo rower, is there for you.
I think another note, too, is that they got to set their damper and their foot settings, not like the individuals. Individuals had to just come in and just make do with what they had. So that's kind of a nice setup.
All right, here's the question, guys. You knew it was coming. What is the right damper setting on these rowers? How are you doing it?
Well, here's what I'll tell you. Roman Krennikov rode about a 10 damper when he sat down and adjusted that thing. He was the first one off. So you can go by what we saw. That's what I like to learn from. I'm personally a pretty high damper rower. I row about an 8.5, almost a 9. Historically, what works for me is fewer strokes and a more powerful cadence. What about you, Bethany?
I think it's changed over the years for me. I used to be at like an 8, 9, 10, and then the last couple of years, because of some back issues, I've actually rode at a 5, and it's worked for me.
Emily Rathwell is the first woman to arrive Invictus. That was to be expected. We talked about her All-American running pedigree. Sean Early on the right side is one of the men from Invictus. Anthony Yim on the left side is from the Young Guns of Proven. Now, Invictus is one of those interesting teams here because Emily Rethwell, best runner in the field. Sean Early is clearly back. We saw Phil Muscarella return as well. Danny Spiegel has a ton of strengths in CrossFit. Running is not one of them. So this for her is how much damage control can I tackle, although my team is going to help make up some slack.
I will say, though, she was looking pretty good this year. I saw her picture on the team. She was looking pretty lean, so she might surprise you today.
Yeah, that can certainly help in preparation. Of course, we understand that. And here, again, this is what I really love about Event 1 and its structured scoring, is that these athletes are dying for all the seconds. And also, from an individual to a team perspective, Danny Spiegel could pack it in, quote unquote, as an individual and say, you know what, hey, I'm going to take last on this because I'm going to go win the back squat, right? In this circumstance, she can't do that because it's total math. She's not just taking a placing. She is accounting for dead time. So it's not like she could just coast in and be okay with where she wants to be. So I love that element that it's really constant pressure for all these athletes that are in the field.
Bella Martin is down by the rowers.
Joel, there were a couple things that we watched in the individuals that I'm seeing here on the teams that might play to their disadvantage. So we were looking at their paces on the rowers. The top guys were anywhere between 145, 147 throughout the entire 3K on the row, but they could see each other. They were right next to each other. They could pace off of each other. But for us, we've got some of our teams on one side, some on the other. So they're luck of the draw here if the person next to them wants to hold on to that 145, 147 pace, which is exactly what we're already seeing for those first guys on the rowers.
Bella, thank you. Or if you're in a team that maybe you're a faster runner and there's no one else around you, you don't have another monitor to look at.
Yeah, we saw that a lot with the individuals. They were peeping over with the girls and the men. They wanted to see what their competitors were doing. So
yeah, run your own race. No.
Not this time. They do have their other teammates, so if they have similar rowing paces, maybe they can use each other for this.
Yep. You're looking at maybe the favorites coming into these CrossFit Games. Victor Helsinghoff is in the front, Tola Maracanyo right behind him with the Zenny sunglasses on. That is CrossFit Oslo Krieger. The two women just behind them on the right side of your screen. That's Oda Lundekvam and Kristen Holta, the oldest in the field, and she's been on the team since Tuesday, subbing in for Ingrid Hodenmyr because of an injury. But Kristen Holta competing at the CrossFit Games after a couple of year break. She had retired. She was the alternate on this team at 39 years old.
Not a bad substitute to call up. Hey, what are you doing next weekend? Can you come with us? And I think we got a good shot at winning the CrossFit Games, by the way.
Holta's on the far left side of your screen, in front of that Zenny flag.
Yeah, pretty stacked team. They're going to overall really have a great output here from this specific event. I mean, I expect them to do very well, of course, this weekend being one of the favorites, but they're gonna have a very impressive overall and total time. It was funny, right when we saw Tola come on the screen, I noticed him look at his heart rate monitor and his row pace, and then he kind of gave almost like a confused look. I'm thinking his heart rate's probably higher than he anticipates, and maybe he still feels fine, right? But we've all run into that at some point.
There's a look at Kristen Holta. If you're new to the CrossFit competitive space, first appeared at the CrossFit Games in 2012. This is her 9th appearance, first on a team. She was 2nd worldwide in the Open, 35 to 39 years old this year, 7th overall of everybody. It is her first appearance since 2021 here this year.
Can I just say that's pretty wild? That's impressive. She has a child.
2 years old.
That's 2 years old.
Full-time job.
Full-time job. And for her to come back and do that during the worldwide ranking of the Open, that's scary.
Yeah. It is a beautiful thing that we've seen through our sport too. The development of it is that there's a time and place where you need to put in a lot of hours and accumulate a lot of volume to build the fitness needed to compete at a high level. And then once it's there, there's this beautiful balance of like living life, training less, peaking at the right time, where it's like, this is elongated athletes' careers, and I think she's a wonderful example of that. Is like, she's probably honestly still shocking herself at the fitness that she's able to sustain through her years and through the changes in life. It's awesome.
It's a good description of less is more at the end of, or the, tail end of your career, and we're seeing that right there.
4-mile run, 3K row, and then a 2-mile run to cap this. So everybody will get back off of the rowers and do one more out and back before they hit the end of this event. Your team score is the total time added up for all 4 of your competitors. Evan Rogers on the right side of your screen. He led on the run coming in for Camel City CrossFit. A lot of athletes wearing these new sunglasses out on the course from Zenni, our new eyewear partner, Zenni Optical. Zenni makes performance eyewear that is lightweight, impact resistant. It's built to stay put, even through sprints, rows, all the sweat that comes with it. Plus, Zenni offers a ton of customizable options. So whether you're on the competition floor or out for a weekend run, Zenni has something that fits your style and your face. Use code CrossFit for 10% off.
Final 700 meters here.
Christine Best from CrossFit Undivided, full-time school teacher, has also qualified for the Masters Games coming up in a couple of weeks.
1 of 6.
1 of 6 women.
1 of 6.
5 on teams, 1 individually. Carolyn Prevost. That is Sydney Smith from a team that has a lot of expectations coming in. 11-24, second consecutive year competing. The gym out of Marietta, Georgia. Came in 13th a year ago. And they actually did compete in person, which a lot of these teams have not because of the online semifinal. But 11-24 did go to Syndicate Crown and win.
And I think that can be a huge advantage when you come to Albany here to show up and compete in person. If all year what you've done was online and you punched your ticket online, and while it's still team competition, it's a very, very different vibe when you got a judge and you've got the circumstances and situations that are going to appear here at the CrossFit Games live and in person. So I think that's great for them to have provided that for themselves, that more experience together on site to throw down.
You really can't replicate that in-person competition feeling. So for them to have that, like you said, it's good.
I mean, your heart rate just goes up differently, doesn't it?
Yep. Push harder.
Yeah.
Push harder.
You get Dwayne Johnson goosebumps.
Speaking of
slap
heart
that forearm.
We got Nicolette Torrigiani right here in 172. Eyes closed. Is that normal? Bethany, do you eyes closed on your rower?
Personally, I do not. So that's a little scary. Scaring me right now.
Getting a look at Camel City here. Again, Evan Rogers in front of us, Lee Sherrill just behind him. I will say this, you are the 2 CrossFit Games athletes. I'm just like a Joe CrossFitter. I do sometimes just push my monitor down because I don't want to see it and I just want to run. Coaches think it's nuts.
Listen, I'll be honest. I've wanted to do it. I just can't. Right, I can't.
Think about it.
Yeah, you think about it, and the reason it's important is we're watching all these athletes hit their threshold paces that you really have to still be in tune, and it makes it more uncomfortable when you see what's happening on the monitor. Maybe your time drops, maybe your rises. Oh, here we go.
Dylan Hamming first off of the rower for 8th Day CrossFit. And he did the old towel trick to keep his hands from getting too sweaty on the handle, yeah. Off he goes.
Yeah, the reason they're going to do the towel is you can get rips on your fingers from doing that. And it's a long weekend. So you are going to be on the bar when you come into the arena. And if your hands are already ripped up, it's not going to be great.
So Dylan Hamming, who we said, hey, maybe hit a great first run, crushes the row. And that, as a powerful athlete, while this is a monostructural test, this is about cardio, if you're a power output person, that row is really going to play into your favor.
It's similar to what we saw from Roman Krennikov in the individuals on the men's side. And then we saw the same thing even with the women. You know, Tia sat down and got to what we assumed was a pretty blistering pace on the row, only to watch Amy Kringle really make up significant ground up to 300 meters on her. So yes, it does pay off, and it is a very high power output expression on that rower.
That was an 11:10 3K row for Dylan Hamming. 11:26 for O.J. Keene and 11:52 for Evan Rogers. Jeff Adler was 11:20 on his route to his Event 1 win for the individuals. Roman Krenikov had the best row at 11 flat, 11:03 for James Sprague, the defending CrossFit Games champion. So we are, I mean, for 11:10, Dylan Hemming, you're in the group.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's right there. And again, we'll see that throughout the team competition. You guys are going to be covering it all weekend, but you're going to see some of these single modality movements like the back squat, opportunities where athletes can compare themselves to individuals. You're going to see some of the capacity on these teams is right there with the individuals, and it's that well-roundedness or that polishedness of their overall fitness that sometimes they lack in comparison at that highest level.
I want to go back to that power conversation, though, with the rowers, where Hemming is really able to excel, put himself out in front. Why does the power output and the strength come into play more so than it just being a strictly monostructural test?
Say that in
so where the power comes into play versus just your cardiovascular engine.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's a great example of it. They already ran 4 miles, right? So they're already very much in what we would categorize as an aerobic state or under fatigue. So when you get to that rower, a lot of times it's not about just even strictly the power you can express or your conditioning. It's like what you have left in reserve. So these athletes that are already strong, if they pace that front run very well, that's when they can really express their power at the highest level. Because what we'll see there too, Joel, is that there's some strong athletes who by the time after a 4-mile run get to the row, it's not a strength for theirs anymore, even though if it was 500 meters per time, it would have been. So much of that is that we're watching Hemming put on a huge exhibition of excellent pacing for his own capacity right now.
Hemming, Keene, Rogers are your top 3. Victor Helsinghoff from Oslo Krieger is right in behind them. Then Nikita Yundov, Samuel Paquin out of CrossFit Le Repair, Sean Early out of Invictus, Angelo DeChico, first time we've mentioned CrossFit Mayhem, Alex Alebro out of CrossFit Prestanda, one of the more veteran men in the field. Those are your top competitors right now at the front of the pack. This is our Zenny event description: 4-mile run, 3K row, 2-mile run. What's left on this 2-mile run?
Whatever he got left. I do like seeing him still out in front because I was like, OJ is going to catch him. But we're going to see when they do the turnaround where they're at with these 2 miles left if Dylan can stay in front.
Yeah, it's funny. We're almost watching exactly what we saw from the men's races on the individual side. This is Roman in the front. This is Jeff in the back. And, of course, now we're referring to Hemming and OJ here in this specific situation. But it's like that distance is very synonymous with what we saw in regards to separation. And, yeah, we'll really start to see around this turnaround how they've paced it.
Various hands are in the air on the 3K row. There's a small competitive part of me that is like, can I get back from my run before everybody's off the rowers?
And to be honest, the answer is probably going to be yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be some people still in those rowers, I would assume, when these guys round the corner and make the turn all the way back to that final straightaway.
All right, so here's the critical piece that we've been talking about. We're looking at your individual leaders, but this is a team event. The first team that is advanced completely off of the rowers, so you know, all have the lowest times, although there might be some fluctuation with highs and lows for some other squads. But the first team to get all 4 off the rowers, Oslo Krieger.
And that's as we discussed, right? A favorite. They're led by some really savvy veterans, both on the team side and individual side. It's like that lends itself as such an advantage, even in a test like this, of self-awareness. Start the weekend, and of course we know now we're getting a taste of really how well-rounded they're going to be all weekend.
Hands are in the air for various rowing athletes coming to the end of their 3K, with another 3,200 meters of running still to come.
Here's one of the biggest advantages to competing on a team, is that when something really starts to suck, and I mean painful, is that you know you got 3 other people leaning on you, and it's different as an individual, right? Because it's like, it's 4 points here or it's 3 points there if you're really falling down the leaderboard. But in this circumstance and situation, you're like, nah, my 3 closest people are relying on me to sell my soul on this run, regardless of where I am, because I know every second counts and it's all being added together. So that is an advantage that you get on the team side. It can push you to some amazing physical feats.
That's how you won the games.
Yeah, honestly, that's part of it. Is that the camaraderie and the leadership and teamwork that all come a part of what we're going to watch this weekend. It's a huge aspect of the training and, of course, everything that we see on the competition floor throughout the weekend. And it'll show in different ways. But, yeah, that's a huge part of it, Joel, and that's what always drew me to competing on the team side.
Yeah, I really like that aspect that you don't get in the indie side. People are counting on you. They need you to do well on these events. And in your mind, you're holding that burden on your shoulders, which you can use as fuel. Use it as fuel. Don't see it as a bad thing. Use it as fuel. And hopefully we're seeing Dylan do that right now.
Final mile here. Dylan Hamming goes for the water cup and half ingests it and half wears it.
Got to stay cool out there.
I mean,
pull your body down.
It's crazy, though. OJ is legitimately putting the Jeff Adler strategy into play here. Like, he's just sitting back right now. He's already closed the gap, and now it's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and let Dylan take a lot of this lead and then probably try to make a move here within the next quarter to a half mile.
And with that last turn, we now know exactly how much room is left. They are on their final mile, so you're looking at a 47-ish minute finish for these guys if they can hold it. Wow. Rachel Klausing is on the left side of your screen, one of the 2 women for this 8th day club. Danielle Dunlap would have been on the rower to her left, so she's already back out for her run. And then Jordan London is their 4th member that Klausing recruited from South Carolina's CrossFit Rhapsody team of years past. And again, your score is your total time, so this is where elementary math checks in, mean, median, mode, right? You can have everybody finish around the same time and get 1 score. You can have several outliers and even get a better score than that other team. My brain just melted.
But that one got me. But
here comes Keen with the pass.
Yeah, take advantage, though. Like, even though you may not be one of the top teams, if you're a really good runner as an athlete, this is your time. This is your camera time. You know,
that's true.
Take advantage of it.
Well, but this is what we also talked about earlier, right? If you are an exceptional runner, this is the stretch where you hit the gas and try to pick up as many seconds as you can.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what we're seeing OJ do right now. He's kind of passing Dylan. So we're going to see how this race ends. But I can see Mr. Veteran OJ giving a little kick at the end to finish her off.
Again, OJ Keen running shoulder to shoulder with Dylan Hamming here, making his first appearance at the CrossFit Games, has also qualified as a Masters CrossFit athlete, has been inside of a gym for the last 10 years of his life, not before. He walked in a gym for the first time at 25. It's not fair that he looks like that. He's been doing CrossFit for 5 years, and he has been like a sponge to water.
He's got to thank mom and dad for some good genetics there,
yep,
and then putting them to use. But a veteran in the sense of he's a runner.
Yes.
He's done some other races and qualified at a high level.
He's competed in the World Championships of some other competitions when it comes to endurance racing.
So he's not shy to all this running. It's a walk in the park for him, or a sprint in the park.
Almost had a collision between Keen and someone going the other way.
He's not small. He's not small.
You know, OJ Keen does not skip shoulder day.
Neither of them.
No.
Neither of them. There's some big dudes out in front, let me tell you.
And that's part of the beauty of CrossFit and what it is, right? It's like we want you to be a great runner, and we want you to run fast, but only fast enough that you're still gaining strength. And we want you to be really strong, and we want you to be big and strong, but only big and strong enough that you're still PRing those 1 mile time trials or 5Ks in this instance.
Half mile left for these 2 gentlemen. And we'll see when they start to really hit the switch. I mean, does Keene even pull away further? Does Hamming say, I've been playing a little bit of possum and try to hit some gas late? Although it looks like he's starting to lose a little steam. Keene is stretching.
Yeah, he's starting. He's already starting to kick a little bit. He's like, bye.
All right, we got a race going
Jeff
on.
Adler won the individual side, men's and women's, 46-15. So that time has come and gone. But you are still looking at team competitors that are going to finish individuals. It could have been in the top 10.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. These guys are going to be close to top 10 times. I mean, we got Harry Lightfoot that came in at 49.36 at 10th overall on the men's side. And so these guys are looking at an output where, wow, that would be extremely impressive even if they were going to be on the individual side.
And then Tia Toomey was the best woman at 49.48. That sentence was unnecessary. Beyond is the best woman.
And look at this absolute kick that we're seeing here. I mean, this is phenomenal. He's accelerated his pace as of the last 150 meters in a ridiculous format.
Just getting faster and faster. Looking behind him, looking over his shoulder, making sure Dylan's not in his sight. And it doesn't seem like he is. Got a pretty big gap.
How did that even happen? I mean, he
just stepped on it. Yeah.
He is a football field ahead of Dylan Hamming. Football pitch. He's from England.
It was once you started to mention the times, Joel. He heard it. He had the earpiece in. He's listening to the commentary.
O.J. Keene, 35 years old, a Masters athlete, is going to put up the best individual time of all the teams, and in 48.57, he puts up a top 10 individual time at the 2025 CrossFit Games. Great start for Blueprint. Good start for 8th day. Hamming will come in second.
And like you said it, people still rowing.
Here comes Hamming officially in 49.23. That's still a top 10 time.
Still an impressive time.
Right to the ice.
Yeah, even though it's cool out there, those bodies are warm after going for 50 minutes plus. So cool the body down as quickly as possible.
8th day is trying to have its best finish ever in its 4th trip to the games. They were 5th last year. And a true affiliate team. They are Michiganders, with the exception of London. But over the last 4 years, it's been a local bunch.
And Joel, to your point, maybe the competitive mindset set in, who knows, but got someone on the rower still. Someone's still on the rower.
Now this is interesting. I mean, Hamming is clearly walking to cool down. And here comes Rogers, who is at the front of the pack. Helsinghoff is on the right from Oslo Krieger. Do you kind of cool down by walking? And look, nice push. And it will be Harry Lightfoot saying, not today. Not only does he beat Rogers, he leaves him in the dust. 50-47 for Helsinghoff. Do you do your cool down by walking in reverse here and maybe trying to go find your other teammates on the run course? Do a little encouraging.
I absolutely would, and that would have been something on my mind even in the return of the run. Like as I'm heading back to this finish line, I'm like, hey, I'm spotting where my team is. I might be giving them a gesture, a nod, or a yell like, hey, let's go. You got this. Push, push, push. Like, whatever that communication might look like. And then once I finish, I'm searching the course. I'm going back to try to find where my squad is. And I don't know if there's, rules. Of course, there's certain limitations. The athletes are going to be held in a specific area, of course. But gosh, if they get that chance, I'm going back to root on my dogs. No doubt about it.
Kristen Holta is the top female. As Angelo DiCicco comes in, he'll be 4th overall. But the top man and top woman in this event for the teams, both Masters athletes, 35 and 39 years old. First score across for Mayhem is going to be just over 51.50 with DiCicco. And here comes Yundov for Rhino. We've had some athletes run faster last 2 miles than they did second 2 miles, if that makes sense. So they're the miles 3 and 4 when they came back in. I mean, Helsinghoff did that in 13:45. He ran his last 2 miles in 13 flat. Here's Yundov.
A little cramping.
Yeah, a little cramp for Nikita over there.
And the first woman to come across will be Kristen Holta on the left side of your screen.
Sam Demeester from Mayhem.
Sam Demeester, that's a good sign. So Mayhem now has 2, and the first team to bring 2 people across the finish line.
Yeah, that's what you like to see when you think about accumulation as the overall score. That's really important.
Raf Durand is going to come racing across as well, so the Rhino team going to have a phenomenal start. Yim is through, Proven. Early is through, Invictus.
Fighting for every second. We just crossed the 53-minute mark, and I see our first female now making her way down.
This is Greater Heights ascends Casey Strong, the captain, in front. And then Kristen Holtz will be the first woman to come across from Oslo, so they will have 2 done. Casey Strong has to go back. He just lost his timing chip.
What?
Because your timing chip is your bib. His bib came off. So he has to go back. It costs him a couple of seconds.
At least there wasn't a bunch of people around. That would have sucked even more, but still, that sucks.
Mike Needleman on the right side, Jordan London from 8th Day, so they'll have 2 coming across at this point. Blueprint has another finisher. That's Kerry Hewitt, who we talked about like O.J. Keene, phenomenal fitness racer. London done from 8th Day, Mike Needleman in from the Long Island team out of CrossFit Undivided. 54 minutes, and I think there's Lugman coming across for Invictus. I think we saw Rachel Clausen coming up here as well, so she's had a good kick, and that's a really good sign for 8th Day.
Phenomenal time still coming in. These women are all still coming in just outside of the top 13.
Oh yeah, that's Clausing on the right side. Wow. So 8th Day has 3 finished athletes at the 54:20 mark.
Dylan's like, yes. He's happy.
Uda Lundekvam also finishes for Oslo. Here comes Tola Maracanyo. Oslo Krieger. They are going to be in a phenomenal spot.
Wow.
And here comes Keene, not to be confused with OJ. This is Harry, spelled differently. He is the captain for that Blueprint AOD team. So they are in great shape, regardless of how he feels in this exact moment.
You certain.
Oliver Cox crossing the finish line.
We had a Tola come across too.
Yep, Tola's done.
Tola's done. He came about 10 seconds ago.
Oslo is done. All 4 of them have come across. And honestly, if I'm Tola Maracanyo, I mean, that man is the strongest person out there.
Yep.
And he just did that
Good
on
finish.
a run.
That's a good finish for him.
You used to run with Tola all the time.
He was behind me. I'm just kidding.
Does that impress you?
It does. It really does. He started working on it in 2021 in Vegas. He was working on his endurance because he knew that was a weakness of his.
Figure one of these teams is going to work out for Tola eventually. He has been Mr. Ringer in recent years, competing on Peak 360, Iceland, CrossFit Reykjavik, East Nashville Proven, Back Bay.
This is his 7th appearance at the games.
The most veteran male in the field.
Yeah, he's tied with another athlete.
Alebro.
Yes.
From Prestanda.
The cup evades him.
A lot of medals.
Can he hold it? It's the best thing, the cup. You win the cup, you keep it for a year. Drink out of it, have a bowl of cereal out of it. I've done all those things.
I was going to say, is this experience?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. That's why you win it. Got to bring it to the party.
Bryn Curlin just ran off of your screen from training Think Tank. And that is Christina Agerback, another one of our Masters athletes from CrossFit Butcher's Lab. Agerback is an OG in Denmark. She competed at the games back in 2018 on a team. There are people that are competing in these games that in 2018 were in middle school, probably.
Zoe Jones out of CrossFit Mayhem. Crossing the finish line just past that 57.
Ivan Gaitan from Q21.
Competed against Ivan. He's been around for a while.
And that 262 is Omer Reshev, the 24-year-old for the Rhino Dogs. So they have at least 3 finishers. I didn't see Lena Mantika come across, but the Rhino Dogs have 3 scores in the books. As we close in on an hour, there is no time cap for the teams. Training think tank's Gustavo Enrico. All of this matters. It all becomes math.
Before that 58-minute mark, once again, this event is 4 completions, so no time cap. We're going to officially see the next wave of athletes cross the finish line. Here we've got a couple of females now making their way.
And Blueprint AOD. Okay, so now this is where things get interesting. That was just Helen Nutter, 192. This is Ava George in the pink for Proven. So Helen Nutter is going to be the final to come across for AOD in a 58-ish time. That is going to bring down a little bit the scores of the other 3, but were her teammates high enough that the maths, and things work out in AOD's favor. Jordan Adcock from CrossFit Body Blueprint, not to be confused with CrossFit Blueprint. If you put them into your GPS, you'll go to different continents.
Be a little confused there.
One is in New York, one is in Britain.
Just a reminder, they ran 4 miles.
Here comes Hannah Hardy from CrossFit Franco's. Brandon Luckett is their coach. He competed on the last CrossFit Franco's team.
We're starting to get to that point where we're starting to see these athletes who have already felt that internal pressure of knowing, I'm going to be one of the slower athletes on my team. And they're bringing up the back half, really having that internal drive of like, I've got to finish fast to give us a good chance.
But you also don't know kind of how these teams were thinking about their position coming in. So maybe some of these athletes know it's not great in the scheme of things, their time, but maybe it's great for what they were aiming for. Hey, like I overshot my expected performance today. Sure. Or maybe they didn't. This is the first of 4 announced events that these teams will be competing in today. So we saw Danny Spiegel there trying to close out things for Invictus. 4 announced events that these teams will be competing in today. So you got a long one in right under your belt. You got to get back to work.
And this is where we'll really start to see fitness, right? Because they're not just going to run 6 miles and then row a 3K and be done for the day. These athletes are going to have several events looming to follow where they're going to have to be asked to recover very quickly, fuel up, get their core temp down, and be ready to rock and roll in just a short while after this.
All right, so this is still up for change based on how scores impact things while people finish. But at the moment, CrossFit Oslo with a total team time of 3:33.32 is in first. Blueprint is in second at 3:35.58. So that 58-minute time by Nutter does pull the score down enough that Oslo was able to sneak in. Maracanã had their slowest score at 54 minutes. Camel City, best time, Evan Rogers, 50:54. They're in third. Camp Rhino is in fourth. Awesome start for the Underdogs crew. And then Butcher's Lab out of Denmark, 3:43. Their total time is in fifth.
Sprinting her way now to the finish line, putting it down. It's Danielle Dunlap from 8th Day CrossFit.
And Invictus just jumped. So Rhino actually got pushed down to fifth. Invictus is now in fourth at 3:39. Phil Muscarella, 52:29. Sean Early just behind him. Emily Rethwell, we talked about her running prowess at 54. And then Danny Spiegel finishes in just over an hour, which again, as we talked about, like for Danny Spiegel, good race.
Yep.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I did say that at the beginning that she was looking good. So that's a good finish for her.
And a 4th place finish, if that's what holds to be, is worth 85 points. You're going to take that.
Nice.
100 for first. And we drop things down by 5.
Following up that hot foot race. Got about 4 athletes sprinting to the finish line.
Gotta love it, medical team there.
102
Watching everyone's body language even as they finish across the finish line. Like, they're right there for people who are showing signs of like collapse, or that they can see, or might be suffering from heat exhaustion or dehydration, whatever it is. We've seen people cramping. They're there to grab them. It's just refreshing to watch them see, okay, someone needs attention or someone doesn't. Let the ones that don't pass on by, but it's great.
That was Dr. Sean Rocket on the left side of your screen, the official CrossFit team doctor as well, and affiliate owner.
Yeah, people are, they're pushing hard. That's what happens at in-person competitions. You do things that you probably, those gears that you can't get into during training, you get into them at competitions.
Yep.
It's a superpower, but it also hurts.
It's
a lot.
devastating. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a pain cave.
Arms driving to try to come across that finish line here in 63:22. Is the unofficial time for Anne-Sophie Taschereau, who is looking forward to the lifting this weekend, any kind of it. She is an Olympic level lifter, running damage control. And training think tank is now a complete team as Faith Stewart comes through. And this is Griffin Raleigh. And this is a tough pill to swallow early for Undivided, who had some podium and championship hopes early. We'll have to see how Raleigh's score impacts the total. Griffin did tell Bella Martin out there that he is kind of seized up a little bit on the first run, so he's been fighting through. And CrossFit Thor does finish in 64:13. And now it'll be recovery mode for a former individual games athlete.
And that's a really, really hard situation there, Joel. It's like you've got expectations for success. You run into muscle cramps or seizing up in, you know, the first 3 miles of what you will know eventually accumulate 6 miles of running. There's some realities there that you must face, and then you just have to simply adapt and do the best you can with what you got.
CrossFit Hendersonville seeing its first female come across with Kenzie Campbell. The Mayhem team that trains out of CrossFit Hendersonville.
It's being an athlete, right? If things go wrong and they don't go to plan, can you adapt and can you overcome? Athlete 101.
Some might say adapt or die.
That's true.
Yep.
AOD.
Still some athletes out there on the course. As CrossFit Prestanda will get a finish here from Angelica Bengston, who was a late replacement for the former Olympian Lisa Anderson after she was hurt. So Bengston, one of the Masters athletes competing, 6 women Masters athletes competing at the games. She's met by Antonia Kotolinski, and Prestanda is a team with podium aspirations. Got a mixture of spectators, teams, coaches, and some people that were walking around Albany and saw something cool and wanted to come on over. Let's take you back to the start of the race, though, and take a look at our highlights presented by Road.
And here is the start of the race. It was a little bit bigger than the individual, as we can see, and you just got to get out there and go up in front. We saw OJ and Dylan getting there as OJ actually makes his way to the rower first. Dylan started making a move, though, because he is a pretty strong athlete. He had a lot of power. And we saw Oslo with the women. They are keeping pace, which we were really impressed about. And then OJ with Dylan. They were battling it out, but I think we saw OJ Keene start pulling away right at the end. As a veteran runner, we love to see that.
OJ Keene at 35 years old finishes, and then you can see the bib fall.
And then we got Kristen Holte is the first female athlete across the finish line.
And her teammate Tola Maracanyo helping Oslo finish with an overall event win. Blueprint right in behind. Great start. Camel City, Camp Rhino CrossFit. We got some teams that have thrown down the gauntlet here amongst our top 5, but it is CrossFit Oslo Krieger that is in the overall lead. All right, as a 38-year-old myself, I can say this. Let's go down to Bella Martin with the 2 individual best runners in this team event, the Spring Chickens of OJ Keene and Kristen Holte.
Joel, I'm here with 2 legends at this point. OJ, we've been standing around for a while. You look pretty solid and recovered now. You were out the door from the jump with Dylan. It was a race to the end, not something you usually want for a 40-minute test, but congratulations. Top 10 time for the individual males would have gone to you. Were you watching those guys in the beginning, or did you just run your own race?
Just run my own race. Running and rowing are probably 2 of my stronger movements, so kind of just hoped I didn't just cross that line on each stage of the event, basically, and then had enough at the end.
We were talking about your team early on with being very good at this based on your hybrid racing performances this past year. Is that something that you think played well to your team's advantage? I mean, 2nd team overall in this event. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I think sometimes we doubt ourselves, or at least half the team doubt themselves, a bit more like strength athletes, but we always seem to do quite well in the running events, no matter what it's paired with. So, yeah, just probably a bit more confident going into it as a whole.
And you're training for not only the Team CrossFit Games, but the Masters CrossFit Games as well. Are you going to take some of those learnings, especially a event win for yourself here, going into the end of August with you?
Yeah, I think it should build a bit of confidence. It's my first CrossFit Games as well, so yeah, pretty stoked.
Speaking of another Masters athlete herself, Kristen, I'm excited to see her. A little bit of a surprise. Most of these teams have been practicing this event since it was dropped. You just got thrown into the mix. How did event number 1 go based on your limited training for this one?
Yeah, luckily I've been running quite a lot, so I felt confident doing that. We kind of thought it was going to be like share the row. So didn't love that I had to row the 3K by myself, but I like to run, and it was just like trying to push myself as much as I can.
It's really fun to see you on a team as well. Your time would have been also one of the top 10 times for the females overall. Is that something to you that builds confidence that you can bring back to your team, knowing that, hey, you can still hang with those individual females, which is a tough field?
Yeah, well, on workouts like this, I should, but the rest, not. Like, I'm not training that volume anymore, and I don't feel like I need to prove myself that I belong there. I've been there, done that, and now it's just fun to be a part of a team and share this experience with the 3 others.
Guys, well, it's been really fun to share it with both of you, top 1 and 2 teams. Event number 1, long day left, but we'll see you guys later.
Bella, thank you. 35-year-old OJ Keene, 39-year-old Kristen Holte. To paraphrase one of the great literary films of all time, Old School, our competitors keep getting older, but we stay the same age. Age is but a number. Phenomenal start to the team competition here at the 2025 CrossFit Games. Women's event number 2.